It's me, Mikey Pipes. Welcome back. Heading over to a service call right now. It's a new client. They are in New Hyde Park, which is kind of like central Nassau County, Long Island, New York. Customer has a gas Weil McLean boiler that's giving him issues. He said he wasn't getting any heat in a certain part of the house and tried to take things into his own hands. He decided that it was beyond his mechanical ability and called for help. Mikey Pipes, help me! You got you. I got you. I got you, bro. I got you. Let's go see what's going on. Make sure you thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. We're almost at 35,000 subscribers. 35,000 subscribers. It's incredible. Incredible. Love each and every single one of you. And thousands more who don't subscribe. They just tag along. But subscribe. I'm talking to you people. Please subscribe. Thank you in advance. Now let's get on with today's program. Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good.
Got no heat?
Yeah, I had heat this morning, but then we tried to leave the pipes
Leave the pipes.
for the air to come out, and then when we did that,
No bueno. No good.
yeah, when we did that,
Show me where you were bleeding from. So you have a boiler.
yeah.
Okay. How many thermostats you have in the house?
Two.
Okay. Both don't work?
No,
No heat in the whole house?
Right now, yeah, this has no heat. That has upstairs.
So you have basement is one zone, and then the
Yeah.
first and second floor is another zone?
Yeah.
All right. Well, McLean. That don't sound too healthy. That noise.
Yeah.
The circulator's burning up. You don't have any pressure on the boiler. All right, let me switch on the other side and see what's going on here. No pressure. All right, first things first. Let's turn off the boiler. The boiler feed valve is... Oh, what's leaking? Oh. You left the valves open, buddy. What are you doing? No pressure in the boiler. So you left these open?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I have no idea.
What prompted you from touching the boiler and trying to drain things?
Upstairs didn't have heat.
So second floor?
Yeah. No, the first floor right here. Like part of the house didn't have heat.
Okay. So what else did you do? I know you drained the boiler down.
That's all we did. And I moved that to manual, I moved it back.
The zone valve.
Yeah,
These guys right here.
Yeah, I moved it back.
So that's probably basement. Yeah, it goes down. This is first floor and second floor. Okay. Did you open or close anything else?
I shut that off and I turned it back on. That was it. That's the only thing I did.
Okay. So you didn't close this valve?
No, I didn't do any of that.
So let's open this valve. We have some discharge there.
No, he didn't touch that.
We got some discharge from the backflow preventer.
He said normally we did this once or twice before.
Okay.
This time when we did it from this side, it wasn't just water, it was like black stuff came out.
Yeah, that's you have the cast iron boiler, and you got maybe some radiators or convectors that may also be cast iron or steel.
Yeah.
So it looks like that's slowing down. Hopefully that stops. And your pressure expansion tank appears to be okay. How old is the boiler? You put it in, it came with the house? No, the boiler.
No, that's maybe 6 years.
You had it put in or it came with the house?
No, we've had it put in.
Okay. This thing's still dripping. Looks like the backflow preventer's leaking. Maybe that's why someone closed the valve. See, it's still dripping. Still dripping. So maybe that's why they closed the valve. It looks like you maybe possibly lost some pressure. And that caused the upstairs zone not to heat up anymore. So looks like you just have a bad backflow preventer, but let's see. Turn the boiler back on, let these zone valves open.
But when we were bleeding the
yeah, I know.
When we were trying to bleed it, right?
Tell me what, yeah, I'm listening.
So like, we turned this on and we opened this, but no water came
Turned
out.
it on?
I don't know, I'm gonna flip it open.
Closed it?
Yeah, closed. I don't know what I'm doing.
And why attempt to do what you're doing?
I don't know.
Trying to save a buck.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm
I hear
doing. So I turned
Well, you
it.
did more harm than good.
Yeah, I think
Here's my professional opinion,
so. Okay.
based on what I've seen so far.
Okay.
That the backflow preventer, this is called the backflow preventer, this little doodad right here with the pipe that goes to nowhere, right now it goes to the bucket. I think at one point in the past, that started dripping water. Someone was smart enough to close the valve.
Okay.
Right now it's open. You see the lever?
Yeah, when it's down.
Right, when the lever is parallel to the pipe it's attached to,
Okay.
it's on. If it's perpendicular to the pipe it's attached to, it's off.
Okay.
So now I'm going to give you a quiz.
Okay.
Because if you're going to pay me a boatload of cash, you might as well be educated at the same time, right?
Yeah.
You see this valve right here?
Yeah.
And I know this is a trick question. Is that open or closed?
That's open.
Very good. What about this one?
That's open.
And the one over there?
It's open.
Very good. Now, what you did, you closed the valve, right? And then you opened this up and nothing came out.
Yeah.
Nothing came out because you didn't have any pressure in the system.
Okay.
Now, the question is, where did all the pressure go?
Yeah.
Maybe you have a leak,
Okay.
right? Because normally, it's a closed system. What that means is that the boiler gets water, right? And it has a certain amount of pressure in it.
Yeah.
Normally 12, 15 psi, pounds per square inch, right?
Okay.
And this gauge right here, which is called the tridecator gauge, the black one right here. No, this one right here, my pointing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have numbers on top, numbers on bottom. See, it says it's PSI right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And then it says feet and inches of water column, or H2O, right?
Yeah.
Feet of water column.
Okay.
So right now, this white dial is a little bit under 20. You don't see it, but there's 0, there's 20, there's 40, there's 60, that would be 80, right?
Okay.
So it's a little bit below 20.
Okay.
And the dial below, forget about the red thing, because I could turn that, see that? But see the other dial, and the white, that measures temperature. And the outside ring is Fahrenheit, and the inside one is Celsius. So if you're used to Celsius, we're imperial here. We do it Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So right now, the boiler is like a little under 180 degrees. Right? You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
But 160, yeah.
it's a closed system. Now, guess what just happened? The boiler came on, because I turned it on.
Yeah.
All right? Let's just take this off to the side. And we have a number right there. That says 191.
Yeah.
And that's degrees. And the boiler is set to 185.
Okay.
Now, the boiler is reading little over 160 there, but obviously that's not 100% accurate. But this is reading 191 degrees. You're not circulating water. All right? And for some unknown reason, the boiler lost pressure, or enough pressure for it to circulate upstairs. Downstairs was working fine?
It was.
Until you started putzing around with this.
Yeah.
And then you had no water in the boiler, and then a la peanut butter sandwiches.
Yeah. But now it sounds fine?
No, we're not done yet.
Oh,
I'm just giving you an education.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because me, I could be in and out of here in 10 minutes and have a nice day, but I might as well educate you.
Okay.
Right? So, that valve normally remains open. Oh, hold on, I gotta answer this. Daniel calling. Okay, now where are we?
So that remains.
So
open,
this needs to remain open. That valve right there. If that valve is closed, right, which in some cases yes, some cases no.
This is open.
Those are open. That's closed. That's open too right now.
But
right?
it should be closed. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I don't see a low water cutoff on the boiler.
Okay.
So if it's closed, right, and if the boiler runs out of water, this is a manual reset. This is a safety control.
Okay.
Right. Similar to one that you don't see that's inside the boiler, and has a red button here. It's called the manual reset.
Okay.
So if the boiler should ever reach 210 degrees, a little over 210 degrees, this is going to pop out, and the boiler's not going to turn on. It's a safety.
Okay.
The plumber who put this boiler in, obviously is probably from New York City, because this is a New York City code requirement.
Oh, okay.
The redundancies. But what you're lacking is what we call a low water cutoff.
Okay.
And it would normally have been right here. Someone took it out or didn't put it in and put a cap here. instead, or plug, right? A low water cutoff will prevent the boiler from running if there's not enough water in the boiler, in the system.
Okay.
In this particular case, I got here, right? Those valves were open. These drains were open, right? This was closed. There was no water in the boiler. Power is on. The circuit was making a weird noise, which it doesn't normally make. And I didn't even check the temperature of the boiler, but it probably was being told to run until I turned it off. When I turned it off, that's when water started coming out of this thing because the back pressure of the pumps.
Okay.
So you're missing a low water cutoff. You should really have one. I'm not telling you must do it because I can't do that to you, but I can say you should have one because God forbid the boiler runs out of pressure again, the boiler won't run. Okay. Because if it runs without any water in it, it could burn down. Okay. Imagine you weren't home. Say you were on vacation for a weekend, right? And right after you left, it stopped heating, and a leak happened or a leak occurred, and the boiler was running empty. It'll burn up.
Okay. Right. So it's just a thing over here?
Yes, it's a device called the low water cutoff. This would come out and would go right there, and it gets wired to the boiler. Okay. It gets power from the boiler, and it tells the boiler to run if it's safe to do so. Okay. In this particular case, you lost pressure in the boiler. You took it upon yourself, even though you don't know what you're doing. Based on your own admission, it's okay. You opened these up, realized nothing was coming out, and gave up. Yeah. And called for help. Yeah. So that's why I'm here. Yeah. Now, in my professional opinion, this started to leak at some point in the past. The pipe that goes nowhere, that's still dripping. Like there's water in that bucket now, right? Yeah. Someone was smart enough, says, hey, listen, I'm not going to replace this right now. Let me just close the valve. Okay. And the drip stopped. Like, if I close this valve right now, the drip's gonna stop. Eventually it'll stop. Yeah. Shortly thereafter. Right? But maybe the boiler doesn't have enough pressure in it. Okay. Maybe it needs more. But especially since you don't have a low water cutoff, you have to keep the valve open. Okay. So what I'm going to suggest we do is, and then I'll give you the pricing for everything. We should do a tune-up on this. It's been how old is it? 7, 8 years old? Yeah, 7, 8 years old. All right. We'll take the burners out, make sure everything's clean in there. I would like to install the low water cutoff that you need. Okay. I would like to purge out or bleed out the 2 zones, all the baseboards, so that way when I leave, everything's heating properly. Okay. And you should replace the backflow preventer because it's leaking. Okay. Okay. New backflow preventer is in. Orientation is towards the pressure reducing valve. That's still off. We're going to take out this plug, put our low water cutoff in here. And then we'll purge out both zones. All right, I am going to show you now how to purge the right way. Okay. Right, but for starters, the boiler has no water in it, right? Yeah. I drained from the bottom drain. Yep. Not even a bucket of water, and all the water's gone. So, I have installed the low water cutoff. It's not wired yet, but I just want to get the water works out of the way. You get your new backflow preventer in. Yep. And we're going to open up this valve. Okay. Right now, it's on or off? It's off. Correct, because it's perpendicular with the pipe. We're going to turn this on. We're going to have a little bit of discharge there, which is fine. And that'll stop. And now the boiler is going to fill up. And if we watch this pressure gauge, we will slowly see that increase.
You going to send me these videos?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
All right. And you can hear it starting to slow down. And we have like 15 psi, 17 psi of pressure, the white dial, right? The white needle. Yeah. Now, what you did before is you didn't even close these. You just opened this and figured it would work. So let me explain to you how this works. Picture the boiler as a pot of water on a stove. Okay. Right? Has a lid on it, and it has a pipe that leaves, right? Like a spout that leaves this pot, and it has one spout that comes back. Okay. Right, so the one pipe, we're going to call that a supply, or the one spout is a supply pipe. It's gonna take hot water from the boiler, which is usually around 180 degrees, and send it to the pipes. Okay. Right, and it works its way through the baseboard, through all the heating elements you have in the house, and it comes back as the return pipe, which is here. Now here, to simplify things, here's that one pipe that leaves. Here's the one pipe that comes back. Okay. Right? However, here you have 2 zones. You have 2 thermostats. So you have that one pipe that divides into 2. Forget about all this other stuff you see here. Forget about this. Just follow the pipe. You have one pipe that comes here, turns, goes through this, and now it It's capped there, but it only goes into two.
Okay.
All right, and it works its way around the whole house, and they come back here. Here's one here, and here's the other there. Okay. Come down, join together, and make its way back to the boiler.
Okay.
Now, when you bleed, or what we call purge, right? We want to purge all of the air out of a system. And normally, in a closed system, right, you don't need to do that unless something has happened. A leak has developed, you lost pressure, someone worked on the boiler and didn't fill it up the right way.
Okay.
So now, you know that this is leaving the boiler, right? And this is coming back.
Yeah.
So if I were to just open this, right, to take water out, what's going to happen? The way it's set up right now. If I were to just open this right now, water is going to come out of that valve from here and from here, right? Well, we don't want to take from the boiler. We want to close that. We want to force new fresh water, which is here, right? Look at this. There's your water coming in, right? And then it's here. And it feeds the boiler, but also feeds the two zones, right? So we isolate or we close off, but right before it goes back to the boiler.
Okay.
And we call this a purge station.
Do you have to shut that off or no? Or do you leave it on?
You could if you want.
Oh, okay.
You could, right? So we are now, we take a note of the pressure, and it's 15 psi as it was before, right? And we're going to open this up. And when I open this up, this hose may act like a wild snake because it's going to shake around, but let's just see what happens.
Before you even...
I'm just opening it slowly.
Yeah, before you even do that. Like, water just stop.
All right?
Yeah, the water just completely
now, you're going to see something very interesting in right now, actually. Right? Nothing's coming out of it.
Yeah, that's what happened before.
All right? Now, you had asked the question, should this be on or off? And I said, I don't remember what I said, but I said, whatever you want, right? You have two zone valves here. These are electronic valves. They get power to open. So, I believe this is the first floor zone, right? I believe because it goes up here, goes around. I believe this is the basement, right? Because it looks like it maybe go down, maybe not. I could be wrong, but I think that this is the basement because it goes down that way. I think this is the first floor. So, you know those little levers you have underneath? Yeah. All right, we're going to try this one and see what happens with that. I'm going to hold that manual open. No, there's a little lever there. I'm going to hold that in the manual open position.
But before when I did that, it came back by itself.
Yes, because you have to latch it into place.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right, and now we're getting all of the water. Fresh water is coming into the boiler, into the zone, working its way all the way around, and we're trying to get all the air out. And you get a little pockets of water, I mean air, but not much.
Okay.
All right, we'll let that run. We'll do a bucket worth. See?
Yeah. That's the air.
That's the air. And we're going to do this until the water stops bubbling like this. And also, there may be a pocket of air here, right? This is closed. Real quick. See? So if any pockets of air that were here are going to come out of the valve. So we're going to do this, probably for a 5-gallon bucket worth, and then we'll do the other. Okay. We're now underneath both zone valves, all right? This is the one we just did. Now I'm going to show you how, you see there's a little notch right there?
Yeah.
So if I go like this, and just push it in, it's going to want to come back, and it's going to sit right there in that little notch.
Okay.
All right, so I want you to try with that one. I'll hold the wires out of the way. No, you let go of it.
Oh.
There you go. Does it stay now?
Yeah.
Okay. Because if you just go like that and try to put it there, there's a spring on this motor, and it wants to go back. So like,
yeah.
See, it wants to go back like that. So you went like this, you put it there, and you let go. But I told you to put it there, and you hear the spring wants to spring back. So now, this basement zone valve is open, and we'll take the hose from the first and second floor return purge station, put it here. We're going to isolate it before it goes back to the boiler, and open this. And we may not get much air in here at all because the baseboard is below the boiler, but we'll get some air anyway nonetheless. Now there's one other thing that I'm reluctant to do, only because when you touch something, it usually breaks. Now, when as a professional, when we purge, or as you called it, bleed, we like to introduce more pressure to the boiler than the normal 15 or 12 psi that's there, and that's done by that. This device right here is called a pressure reducer. Yes, you can lift up the lever. So if I do that, right, we'll bypass its internal setting of 12, 15 psi, and it'll be infinite.
Yeah.
Right, as much as your house pressure has. But it also will accelerate the process of purging.
Okay.
And you also have to keep an eye on your pressure. Now I'm at 25 and increasing. Our air is violently leaving. I'm going to close that off. Our pressure will decrease again. And I think we got all of the air out of there, but let's go like that. Open and close it a couple times. And now I'm going to close this. We'll close that. Open that. Open this. We'll put this back to the way it was, the lever. It's going to close because there's no power to the boiler. And we're going to turn the boiler on. Okay. Now, you have basement zone is open, on. There's no resistance here. It moves back and forth, as well as this one. Because the thermostats are giving it power to open.
Okay.
And now the boiler is circulating. We take a look at our pressure gauge and temperature gauge, also called a tridecator gauge. Our temperature is around 80 degrees, and our pressure is a little under 20. We'll adjust that. And right now the boiler is 89 degrees, 86. We just had a call for ignition, and now the boiler is making hot water.
Okay.
And in about 10-15 minutes from now, we'll be circulating hot water, and that temperature will be 180 degrees.
Okay.
And while we're waiting for that, I'm going to start doing the wiring on the low water cutoff, and then we'll do the tune-up, and then I'll tell you arrivederci.
All right, cool.
All right, for power, I was going to take from the transformer the blue and the yellow wire, but we had a transformer here which is powering the zone valves. So I took a piece of thermostat wire, connected it there, and right now my end switch is not connected to anything. And if we turn this on, we should have a green light. Bingo. Power's on, transformer's feeding it. This is a 40 VA. See? So plenty of VAs for the two zone valves and the low water cutoff. At least I think so. Let's refer to the manual. Page 2, 2.5 VA for power consumption. See? Very nice. Now, one thing to remember, and I see this a lot. I'm going to show you. Where is it? Where is do not use PTFE tape? There it is. Page 6. Do not use Teflon tape. Use only pipe sealant. Failure to follow these directions will cause probe not to function as intended and could cause property damage, personal injury, or death. So, Pro Dope. See? No Teflon tape. Pro Dope. Okay. Now, I am going to wire the low water cutoff to break TT. That's a C. I don't know what's going on here. Looks like they took power from here before. This is, what does this say? Thermostat. Interesting. Thermostat. How is this actually wired? That's C. These two wires say T-stat, but it's only getting that. Oh, see, look. Looky, looky, looky. Hold on a second here. This is not the original transformer. is not the original transformer, this 40 VA transformer. You probably had a low water cutoff there before. That's probably what happened. I bet you you had one before. That's why this plug was installed. All right, the low water cutoff died. Probably blew out the transformer. Now this is called the guard dog. If you notice, this is brass.
Yeah.
Right there, right?
Yeah.
On earlier models, I'm talking about like a decade ago, more than a decade ago, like 15, 20 years ago, it was plastic.
Okay.
Instead of brass. And back in the days, you know, like you see a lot of them, like Burnham had the Series 2 boiler. And the guard dog would blow out the transformer on the fan center because it would short out internally here and take the transformer with it. I bet you that's what happened here. You had the plastic shank. It burnt out the original transformer. Someone took it out of the equation, gave you a new transformer, so you have a nice day. 141 degrees. Hot. Okay. Now I gotta figure out where thermostat is here. All right. I wired my low water cutoff to break power right there to the control. Since I have an external transformer, if there's a low water condition, the boiler's not even getting any power. I did that because the way they wired the zone valve is quite funky. You know, your two red wires are end switches, and one red wire from one zone valve gets wired to the other and vice versa on the other. And then you take another wire, one from each, now they're all twinned together. So if you even had like 10, 15 zone valves, you take one wide red wire from each and you connect it and the other to the other, and then take a wire and becomes your end switch or TT. Here, I wasn't opening up a can of worms, so I was like, you know what, let it be. Combustion test, there we have it so far. Very nice. Only 2 particles per million of carbon monoxide. There's my probe. I drilled a hole in the flue. And O2, 8.8%. We're 80% efficient. 6.79 of CO2. I'm gonna hit clipboard to save that. We're gonna pull this out and then test for draft. All right, there's our results. Great draft. Very nice. Other numbers. Perfect. Pressure's a little high though. Pressure is a little high. As we said, we're going to keep that closed. No leaks. Our relief valve is good too. No air vent there. Okay, and if I test low water cutoff, see, kills power to the boiler. Perfect. See the plastic?
Yeah.
It's like burnt up, like melted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a stainless? No, you didn't. You have a stainless steel liner put in when you did the boiler? No?
No idea.
Let's see something here. So we're on A. Let's turn it up to very hot. Let's make sure nothing is spilling out of here. Let that run for a little bit. May have had a backdraft at one point. That's the only thing that could explain this melting. Mm-hmm. If the exhaust gases were coming out of here instead of the air going up, that could cause that to happen. So let's let this run for a little bit, and while the boiler's running. And again, this may have probably was a long time ago, but that melted at one point, and we'll test the draft. We'll use a lighter in a little bit and see it, make sure it goes up. Say the flame is being sucked into it.
Yeah.
Right. If you had a positive draft, the flame will blow out. So the exhaust gases are going up, so the water heater's on, the boiler's on. Let's just test the boiler. I know the boiler's great because we tested that's one of the things we tested for. And it turned off already. That's hot. And I like this to get hotter. But you felt upstairs and it's hot?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know what some of you are going to say. I already predict the comments. They're coming. Mike, what the F is wrong with you? Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. You're giving him too much information. Maybe yes, maybe no. But you have to admit the guy was clueless when it came to bleeding his radiators. But since he tried to do it anyway, I might as well show him the right way of doing it. And I know some of you are going to be hating out there like, Mike, you know, you're taking the food out of your mouth because, you know, now you're telling homeowners how to do it themselves. I was like, listen, if they're going to do it themselves, they're going to do it themselves regardless of whether I show them the right way or not. And keep in mind, this is for educational purposes only. If you're not qualified to do what I do in these videos on the channel, do not attempt it at home, ladies and gentlemen. I hold no responsibility if you burn yourself, your hand, whatever. Don't attempt this at home unless you're qualified and skilled to do so. But I'd rather the mechanically inclined individual to do something to save themselves a few bucks, because when the time comes where there's something much more difficult and a higher level of difficulty, they're going to call a professional like me and Mikey Pipes, or regardless of where they are in the world. If they're in New Bedford, Massachusetts, maybe they'll call Steve Lav and Miss Molly will show up. If they're in Carolinas, maybe they'll call Ted Cook or Mikey Pipes. Stay tuned, it's coming. Be well, God bless, stay safe.